We're now going to look at adding a forum to your course. Forums are a very valuable part of teaching. They allow students to interact with each other. They allow teachers and assessors to interact with their students in an educational manner. And it can also be used as part of their grade. So we're going to look at how that's all combined together as we create a forum. Let's go into our course, make sure editing mode is turned on, select add an activity or resource, and we're looking for forum, which is just there. Our forum, the name for our forum will actually be task number 3 in this course. And I've just put in there the text as well. Discuss the areas you find most difficult in creating vector images and assist other students. So as part of this forum, what they'll be doing is creating their own, call it a thread, but we might change that to create your own topic, explaining one area you found difficult when creating vector images, as well as comment on 2 other students. We'll call them topics. That's the task that they've been given. Relatively simple, I think. But we've got our forum name, we have our forum description, explain to the student what they need to do, then the type of forum that we want to do. We'll leave this as a standard forum for general use. So I'll leave it as standard forum for general use just for a minute. So our availability has start and end dates as well. We can have attachments that are allowed, maximum size, maximum number of attachments, so people can add attachments in there if they need to explain things. The subscription mode is where people have to subscribe to be a part of this. Now you don't need to have subscription mode. Optional, participants can choose whether to be subscribed. Forced, everyone is subscribed and cannot unsubscribe. So you can leave it as forced because that's what it is for this particular type of activity. Subscribed really means that they get emailed information or sent information about what's happening and what's going on in the process at the time. So if they're subscribed to it, they'll know exactly what's going on all the time. That's actually quite useful, but it can be a lot of emails, a lot of messages that get sent, and can be a bit much as well. So it depends on how busy the forum is and how much people want to know what's going on in that forum. So discussion locking, lock discussions after a period of inactivity. You can choose that. That's an option for you. Post threshold for blocking. Basically we leave that as don't block. So students can be blocked from posting more than a given number of posts in a given time period. This is where things can go crazy with them posting. Whole forum grading. This is where we have a grade for the forum. Now we're actually going to do that. We're going to change it to point, and we're going to submit a grade of, in this case, it'll be 3 because they have to complete 3 items and they may not complete all 3. They need 3 to pass, and it's simple direct grading, and we can leave default setting for notify students to no for now. That's fine. Roles with permissions to rate. We're not going to use ratings. Ratings are more if you want people to rate the forum discussions to decide what's more valuable in information. Because we're using this as more as an assignment or as an actual activity that needs to be completed and graded, we don't need to worry about ratings. Okay, common module settings. They're all normal. Restrict access is the usual restrict access. So activity completion. We can open up activity completion because we're using this as part of the student's actual assignment or as part of their grading. So show activity complete when conditions are met. And the conditions are the student must view it to complete it. So that's the first one. They must go in there. This relates to the whole forum, these questions that are below. So they must receive a passing grade to complete the activity. So that's important. To complete, they must post discussions or replies. So yes, they must, but it actually doesn't matter in this case. We're not saying how many times they have to post. What we're doing is we want to make sure that they create at least one discussion and they reply to at least 2 others. So they've created one of their own and they've replied to 2 others. So it's that way it's shown a certain level of interaction between the students. that's all we need to do. We don't need to worry about tags. Competencies we don't do, so let's save and display. That's what it looks like. Discuss the areas you found most difficult or find most difficult in creating vector images, and then create your own topic. So let's see what this looks like when a student does this. Let's jump to our student. So our student goes down to their discussion forum, and they're going to add a discussion. For this student, it's just using Illustrator. I find Illustrator can be difficult to use, ... You shouldn't really find it difficult to use, but that's this student. And they can post to the forum. Post was successful. You have 30 minutes to edit if you want to make any changes. A student will be notified of new posts in using Illustrator 3 discussion progress. The student has viewed. The student has started a discussion. They need to post replies. So they need to post 2 replies to other students' work. So we need to add some more threads in there for the student to discuss. And you can see here's the student's thread that they started, or the topic, and no one else has replied to that yet. Let's just add a couple more students and put some comments in, and then we'll come back and have a look. A student now has a couple of other students in the class. We've got student 2 and student 3, and they've all commented as well. So what we can do as a student, it is one of our requirements, is to post replies, post 2 of those replies. So I need to go and find someone else's work and say, click on there, and I need to reply. I'm just going to write so true. You would hope that they write something more reasonable than that, but that's okay. Let's go back to our task. We still haven't completed it, but we have replied to 1. Let's reply to cutting out shapes. Reply. Yep, I find it difficult to, which they may or may not. But let's go back to our progress. So our student has finished all of their discussions. They've viewed it. They've started their discussion. They've posted 2 replies. All of that's done, but they have not received a grade and they haven't received a pass grade. Still need to do that bit. So that's where the assessor needs to actually check whether the student did actually type something useful in or not just put a full stop in, to make sure that their participation was to the level expected of this particular task. And that way it can go into gradebook. So let's jump into the assessor part. So here's our assessor. We can select grade users and we choose which user over on the right we're going to grade. So this will be student. We can have a look at students' discussion started by student. Good, they've done 1 of those, so that's perfect. And remember, our grade is out of 3 for this. They've done the first thing, they've done the second thing, they've done the third thing. Are we happy with their responses and the interaction that they completed in there? You can actually go in and view the discussion yourself if you like to see what the rest of the discussion was as well, or view the parent post to sort of see it all in context. And if you're happy with that, we can mark that as student 3 graded and save. Jump back to our student and we can go to view grades for our student, and our student has now got 3 out of 3 graded by admin user on that date, and status is graded. So if the student goes back and looks in their grade book as well at their complete grades, they can see that they've done their submission, which is great. Still need to do the quiz, but they've also completed their discussion forum. So hopefully that's been useful in putting together a forum in Moodle.